Which sport was the first to have a world champion? This doesn't have to be a tournament. It simply means two nations' representatives competing for the title. So what do you think, Jürgen?
The football of football.
You mean the World Cup?
It's made of 18-karat gold, and the man who receives it is Diego Maradona.
No, I'm afraid not. The first World Cup was held in 1930, where Uruguay beat Argentina in the final 4-2. You could go further back than that to the 1920 Olympics, where there was a tournament of football won by Belgium. Even further back than that, there was an exhibition tournament in the 1908 Olympics, which was won by a combined team of Great Britain, but it's still not early enough. The first actual tournament was 1884, the home nations of Britain played, and Scotland were the winners. But even further back than that, you have the very first Football International of 1872, a draw between Scotland and England. But this is not early enough, so how about...
Cricket! Oh no! I love it!
Thank you, 10cc, but no, this is Clive Lloyd, captain of the West Indies, collecting the first ever World Cup in cricket in 1975. So, not that then. What about the Triangular Tournament of 1912, which was a round-robin contest between South Africa, England and Australia, who were the only test-playing nations of the day? It was won by England, but there are events even before this. In 1900, cricket makes its only ever Olympic appearance to date, and a combined team of Great Britain beat France in the final. But in fact, the earliest and first ever cricket international was in 1884 between Canada and the United States. I know, who'd have thought that? It was played at St. George's, which is just off modern-day Broadway in New York City, and there were 20,000 spectators. For the record, Canada won 82 runs to 64, but even that match in 1884 is still not early enough. How about tennis? Well, Wimbledon's the oldest tennis tournament in the world, where it's obligatory to fold your knees to celebrate victory. Despite it being the oldest tournament in the world, it only dates back to 1877, which I'm afraid, John, is far too late.
You can't be serious, man. You cannot be serious!
Chess is a game of unlimited beauty.
Yes, it might be, Gary, but the first recognised world champion in chess is William Steinitz in 1886, so too late, I'm afraid. Ah, this is as old as the hills! Robin Hood, splitting the arrow! Archery, Roy! What do you think?
No, yeah. I took you to late night last night.
Yes, even Kevin Costner can't save archery in this tournament, although it does possess the oldest trophy in the world, the Scourton Silver Arrow, which has been contested ever since 1673, although to my knowledge no foreigner has ever won this, let alone entered it. There's your form. Go make history. So which sport was first to have a world champion?
Counterpunch.
He's leaving himself through the lightweight. Oh, that might end it. It could be all over now. Will be now. Not sure.
Yes, the first sport to have a world champion is boxing. Let me tell you when. Welcome to Tailhouse. The lineal world champion dates back to John Sullivan in 1886, but this just marks the birth of modern boxing and the general acceptance of the Queensberry rules, which were made in 1867, that stipulate familiar principles like the use of gloves, 3-minute rounds, a 10-second count for a knockdown, and no throwing of the opponent. Prior to 1886, there was bare-knuckle boxing, and Sullivan himself was the last bare-knuckle boxing world champion. You can see him in this picture here in the traditional pose of the bare-knuckle boxer. Common understanding has it that boxing had no rules before Queensberry in 1867, but it did. They had very firmly established rules written in 1743 called the London Rules, and a world champion emerged under these rules way back in 1811, earlier than any other sport. Boxing originated in travelling fairs as one of the acts on offer. To begin with, the crowd was asked to hold the rope. Inevitably, this took the form of a circle, hence boxing taking place inside the ring. The boxers of the fair would challenge the spectators to take part and offer themselves as a contestant with a chance of winning some money. Those who fancied their chances would signal so by throwing their hat into the ring, and the boxer would pick one of the hats that had landed on the floor, and that person had the chance to win the money and take the fight. It's where we get the phrase, to throw your hat into the ring, to signal wanting to take part in something to try to win. The London Rules of 1743 stipulated, amongst others, that fights would take place in a staked-out square instead of the ring. There would be no blows below the belt, no striking a man when he was down, and that a knockdown could occur by blow or by throw, and would result in the end of a round, with each boxer afforded 30 seconds to return to the centre of the ring and place their foot facing each other on a scratched out line in the earth. It's where we get the phrase coming up to scratch. Any boxer who failed to come up to scratch after that 30 seconds was declared the loser and the other the victor. Clearly then, bare-knuckle boxing matches could be made up of many rounds that might be very short, but overall constituted a bloody and brutal war of attrition. That anyone could win so consistently under these conditions is astonishing, but in 1810, Tom Cribb managed to put together 7 straight wins against the best fighters in England to become universally declared the champion of England. At the same time Cribb was making his way up the lists, over in Virginia in the USA, a young slave by the name of Tom Molyneux was gaining prominence by boxing for his owner across Virginia against the champions of other plantations. And given that Tom Molyneux was based near Mount Vernon, it's highly likely that George Washington saw Molyneux box. In any case, soon Tom had defeated all comers, thus being rewarded with his freedom by his owner. Recognizing his own talents, he headed for New York and the only place he could make his name, to England, to fight the great Tom Cribb for the championship of the world. Molyneux arrived in London in spring 1810 and set about declaring his talent to all who would listen and calling out Cribb for a match-up. As an unknown with no provable victories in England, he was deemed to have to prove himself in a preliminary bout. So on July 24th at Tothill Fields in 1810, he was matched with a decent journeyman heavyweight. Although a slow fight to begin with, Molyneux pommeled his opponent so badly for near 40 minutes that his features were said to be indistinguishable by the time he quit. Immediately another fight was fixed for only 1 month later, this time to Tom Blake, a top-ranked boxer that Cribb had beaten on his way to the title. In his time, Cribb had taken nearly an hour to beat Blake. When Molyneux matched with him, he began with such speed and ferocity that he pulverized Blake into submission in only 8 rounds and just 15 minutes. Spectators were staggered at the power and skill of Molyneux, and Cribb, who had been in the seconds as a corner for each of Molyneux's 2 previous opponents, now felt duty-bound to accept the challenge of the American.
What's your prediction for the fight, then?
Prediction?
Yes, prediction.
Pain.
And the opening round now, round 1. It's a very cautious opening from both of them there. It looks like Cribb has got the best of it, and he does in rounds 2 and 3, 4 and 5. Into round 6 now, but Cribb is felled by a huge blow from the American. Molyneux sacks him to the floor with a cross to the head. Round 7, Cribb is down again. That's twice now, the champion in real trouble. Round 8 now, Cribb comes out and throws everything at Molyneux. Punches all over the face, to the body, to the head. But Molyneux just keeps on coming. They slide off him. They seem to have no effect. Molyneux won't go down. Both fighters sporting cuts and swellings to the head now, showing the wear and tear of the fight is having an effect on them. But it's Molyneux who fells the champ a 3rd time at the end of the 8th. Coming out for the 9th, and Molyneux again, a full-powered face punch, knocks him back to the canvas. Cribb is down for a 4th time. The betting, which began 4-1 against the American challenger, is now being hedged off all over the place in a panic by those. 10th round, Cribb concedes he can't dominate the American challenger anymore. Molyneux is too powerful, and he resorts now, Cribb, to milling on the retreat, punching and moving backwards, trying to outbox him. 11th round, Molyneux fells Cribb a 5th time, both fighters visibly tiring now. 12th round, Cribb starts to work the body and the head, pommeling him repeatedly. It seems to be having no impact on Molyneux, though. He simply keeps coming forward, closing off the space. The round ends by throwing Cribb across the ring. 13. Cribb hits Molyneux so hard he goes down himself. But amazingly, the American challenger remains standing. Odds are now 6-4 on Molyneux to take the title. In the 14th round, Cribb is levelled again. It's his 6th time down. Despite the last round levelling, Cribb is extremely tired now. He doesn't appear to have anything left in him. He's been on the canvas 6 times himself, and he's now being held by Molyneux. He can't get out of it. He's against the ropes. He's taking a severe fibbing to the ribs. Oh no! What's the crowd are invading the ring? There's about 100 people in there. They're trying to drag Molyneux off Cribb. What's going on? It's absolute pandemonium in there. And now the trainers are shouting. The seconds are in there. Molyneux himself is showing a broken finger that happened when the crowd dragged him off. I don't know if he's going to be able to fight on with that. Well, No, it seems like the fight is going to continue. They're going to continue. Well, it seems to be the Molyneux still has the advantage. Cribb is down again in the 20th round, the 21st and the 23rd. 24 rounds and Cribb goes down now a 10th time to the canvas. Molyneux's only been put down one. He's lost his eyesight in one eye and he's got a broken finger on the other hand and he still can't put Cribb away. Round 29 now, and out of nowhere Cribb has a devastating cross and fells Molyneux to the floor for the second time. I don't know if Molyneux's getting up here. Oh, he does. He's up. And the rounds continue. For the next 10 rounds to round 39, Molyneux has just not recovered from that knockdown by Cribb. In fact, Molyneux's saying to his corner he can't come out for round 40. There's a heated discussion. No, he is. He's up. They persuaded him. He's coming out for round 40. Oh, but it's no good. He's got nothing left in him. He's pommeled viciously by Cribb. He's down to the floor again. And it's over. Molyneux raises a hand. He can't continue. The fight is over. That's it. Tom Cribb is the champion of the world. All who saw this first World Championship bout agreed that it had been the most ferocious and bloody fight they had ever witnessed. It lasted an incredible 55 minutes of bare-knuckle boxing. Both men sealed their fame in this titanic battle. But shortly afterwards, Molyneux issued a second challenge to Cribb, believing that he had been robbed of victory in that 19th round with the ring invasion and the breaking of his finger. Cribb had been afforded valuable time to recover from what seemed like certain disaster. Cribb, not wanting his victory to be tarnished, accepted. The second fight took place 18 months later, the 28th of September, 1811. Both men used the time between these fights very differently. Cribb found a sponsor in Captain Barclay and tucked himself away to train. Molyneux had no such fortune. He had to sustain himself by touring England and charging for sparring sessions, like a travelling fair boxer. He was famous, and in each town he could be seen drinking and in the company of many ladies. When the fight arrived, Cribb weighed in 2 stone lighter, leaner, and much meaner. Molyneux was not prepared in the way that he had been for the first fight. The second fight saw Cribb totally dominate and devastate Molyneux. It was all over in 11 rounds and 19 minutes. This time, there could be no dispute. Cribb was the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. The story of these two men diverge after the second fight. Cribb had fame and fortune. He bought a pub off Leicester Square, which is still there today and you can drink in. Only now it's named after him. And Molyneux, well, he struggled. Fine living, alcoholism, and TB began to consume him. He ran out of money quickly and was forced to make money the only way he could, by holding exhibition matches against all comers as he travelled the country. He ended up in Ireland, a shadow of his former self, fighting at fairs on weekends, and died a wreck in 1818. Both these men were inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame in 1997, and that their name resonates over 200 years later down the centuries is a testament to the fights that they had. Molyneux was probably the first black international sporting hero, and but for that ring invasion in round 19 of the first fight, might well have been the first ever world champion. It is sad that in his home country of the United States, there is no monument, no memory, and no celebration of this man.